It's like
example.
Destiny's
Like a community
arguing
that
with
just
a
commits
mirror.
arson
Yeah.
or blows their Capitol building
Destiny,
up.
do you
So now I'm
realize
gonna
though?
ask you, let's say there's a
This
guy who wants to
kid-
defend his property, and his rule is if anybody touches shit in my house, I'm
This
gonna blast
kid is
them.
what you're
you come in,
creating.
you see like a little M&M guy, you pull
This
his
is
arm,
what your
what
takes
happens? You don't steal
create.
them, you pull
This
it,
is your
he turns around and he
progeny.
shoots you in the face. I'm asking you,
These are the
why
true
shouldn't
children
he be
of
defended in doing that? Why
Princeton.
wouldn't you defend him? The answer is, and I think you don't want to say, but the answer is, well, because you had no fucking idea. Or, more formally, you weren't put on notice.
No, it doesn't matter. Even if you have the idea, like, if you touch this M&M hand, you blow up. Because, like, okay, say you have the idea of, like, if you breathe,
if you're
done. Okay? Even if you have that
No, breathing is something that you do personally that doesn't extend to.
Oh my god, these fucking thought experiments.
No, he's like, oh,
these thought experiments are out of control, Destiny.
Hot breath in the air. I found that is morally neutral. Bye-bye. Boom, 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 boom. Like, okay, so why wouldn't he, like, why couldn't you just use breathing? Breathing does affect people.
You can't counter my extreme hypothetical with an even more extreme hypothetical to avoid answering my hypothetical, okay?
I just answered it. I said no because, okay.
This is really ironic and funny. This is really, really good.
Touching someone's M&M hand is immoral, just as I don't think breathing hot air into the atmosphere.
So do you think that you should be allowed to impose your moral code and act in accordance with your moral code, even if it contradicts other people's moral codes around you?
Yes, 1,000,000 times over.
Okay, what if my moral code is if I see a black person, I should be able to throw a collar on them and enslave them?
Yeah, okay, that's an argument in my favor. I think... Yeah,
wait, no, you're saying I should be allowed to do that, even if it's different than yours. So how do you defend yourself rationally from that?
Wait, I think my moral system is the best. I think I should be able to impose my moral system on others, but I don't think others should be able to impose their moral system on me.
Oh, okay. So how do you know your moral system is the correct one then?
Oh my god.
Because I debated for so long. I'm the best.
This is totally cringe.
Unless anyone else debates.
This is totally cringe.
This Destiny?
The one and only.
Alright. So, I do have a list of topics. Just a quick introduction.
I'd like to talk to you about cancel culture, Destiny.
You heard me before. My name is Cutsleeves.
Don't you think it's bad?
The 16-year-old Debatelord. I've debated the member
self-identifies as a debate lord.
I've debated Rob Noor.
Are you gonna...
I've debated Polar's World, and I've debated Vosh. Vosh kind of cowered out in our debate. He like kind of ended as soon as I was winning, but
wuss.
We'll talk about that later. So yeah, that's basically my
that's right. That's right.
Is that cool?
Like, are you cool, or is that okay that you did an introduction? Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Well, wait. So are you streaming now?
Yeah, I'm just running around building buildings.
Nice. Okay. So let's go to the autonomy.
This is cute.
Okay. My position on autonomy is people do value autonomy. It seemed like in the panel you said people don't value autonomy. Can you like explain that real quick?
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know. This is gonna be like a very qualitative argument. Like I don't know how we're gonna resolve this. I think we might have.
Riley was right.
To disagree, but so I think that people think that they value autonomy, and some people might even because they've been told so much that they should.
Yeah.
But I don't think people really do value autonomy.
Riley was right.
I think that people generally like autonomy because they use it as a tool to make better choices.
Thank you, Nitsu.
But if the best choices are already made, I don't think somebody would want the autonomy to make a worse decision. That's kind of how I view it.
Yeah, I don't think that's fundamentally true. You can like take a look at gambling, for example. We tell people over and over again, like you're not gonna win with gambling, but people still choose to do it. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so things like gambling, I think, prey upon like very bad. Have you ever heard of the term operant conditioning?
No.
So there are like different ways in which we kind of like reinforce behaviors, and I think gambling plays on a very negative way that we reinforce behavior by rewarding you for doing a random, like it gives you a random reward for a random amount of actions, and I think that type of like learning pattern is just a really addictive pattern for people. It's like a kind of like a mind, like a fault of the human mind, I guess.
Right, but even knowing that they're going to lose, they still choose to do it. That just means we value autonomy, right?
Yeah, but that's what I don't agree with that. I don't think most people that gamble go in thinking they're going to lose. I think they go in thinking they're going to win. Okay. So I know, because I watched some of your videos, you know, because I prepare for my debates.
I know that you or one of your friends worked at a casino. You
Yep.
think if you were to
Oh,
like
he worked at
survey
a casino,
people
yeah.
before they went to the gambling machines, you think that they're going to turn out a profit? Like if you were to ask someone before they started gambling, how
I think
much
that
money?
when you sit down and talk to them, I think they'll say like, "Nah, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. No." Like they'll
Right.
say that, but their behavior says otherwise. And I think that because people will like develop all these crazy stupid systems in terms of like how they're
You know,
going to
it's
beat the
funny
machines
'cause
and
I
everything.
don't
I think that genuinely, I do believe a
have
lot of
like
people.
any
There's
desire to
probably like some
gamble.
small number of people. I would
Like
imagine
with
people
real
that play table
money,
games,
I
like,
never
that go and have
like it
fun,
wouldn't
and
be
you're like, "Oh, I'll
fun.
probably
I wouldn't
lose," but, you
enjoy
know,
it.
they still have
I
fun
would
doing
never
it.
do
But I
it.
think a lot of people that go to
I just
casino
don't. I
really
don't
do
have
think
it.
they're going to win.
I don't have
Because they
any
have a
desire to
good balance, or
gamble.
have a system or
I'm
something.
not. I don't know. I mean, like it's not like if you gave me money
So here's the thing.
specifically and were
I
like,
think
go over
the
and gamble with
notion
this, like I
that
would
like
be like, no, I
autonomy
refuse
is
because I'm morally,
like
you
not
know,
important
like
at all.
right.
I think
I
that's
would,
just based off of
you know, I just like
feeling.
it's just
So
not something
let
that I
me
would do. Like it's not
send you
something
this
that I
article
like
real quick.
am pulled towards.
So you can, because I actually read the article. Command F autonomy. Command F quenches. So what they actually found in this article is like autonomy supersedes your desire for power. So according to this study, it's on the rankings of what humans desire, it's 1 power, 2 autonomy, and 3 influence. Meaning people actually value autonomy more than influence. So if you isolate each independent variable, the only reason they value influence is because of their autonomy to do decisions. So there's like actual data that people do
Yeah,
value autonomy. Now, here's a question I pose to you. If you were playing a game such as like the
yeah. I
one
don't
you're
really
playing
got.
right now, would you rather have a robot
I also don't spend
pre-select
money on
the
like.
best skill set, or would you rather have the autonomy to like choose your skill set?
Depends on how many choices are available to you. I think that people generally prefer fewer choices than more. So I mean, it just depends on how many paths or what the choices
Like
are.
microtransactions and
Okay, say it's like normal amount of choices, just like a pretty good skill set. Look, yeah.
decision theory is a rabbit hole
Or does
my
it really
mind could
matter
go
how many
down,
choices there are? You would want a
and in
robot
that
to
state
predetermine
every choice
the
seems
best
like a
outcome for you,
gamble.
because like there's walkthroughs, but no one plays the walkthrough before they play the game.
I mean, there's a lot of people that do that. That'll watch like Let's Plays and everything.
Okay, but
I don't know if like I think okay. So like okay, I'll bridge this a little bit. I think that people like to be able to exert like some influence over their lives. That's what we like to feel, that we could make a choice, or I guess we could say we can have autonomy over particular things. I think that maybe there are people that like that, and maybe even that is real to some extent. I just think that as far as people talk about it, I think that that desire for autonomy is way,
Yeah,
way,
I don't
way,
think
way,
Destiny.
way, way, way
Well, wait,
overstated.
yeah, I guess he
And I
is
think that
building
autonomy
this.
is
I was
way
about to
less
say it
on
wasn't.
the ladder of importance to people than like more fundamental needs. So, for instance, somebody would want like basic food, shelter, clothing, like basic education. People would want these things met before they have like quote unquote autonomy, like massive autonomy over their lives. I would say.
Wait, but Destiny, none of what you're saying is like contradicting what you're saying. So you're okay. So I'm like, okay, so autonomy is important, and you're like, well, it's not as important as like food. I don't think anyone's gonna disagree with you if you had a choice to like be like either autonomous or actually starve to death. Like all
Well,
you're
I think
saying
so. The reason why I bring this up is because, like, for instance, no, I'm saying conservatives. I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying like conservatives in general will make the argument that like sometimes people need to have the choice to fail, or sometimes autonomy is good even if people fail, because people should be free to make the decisions that make their lives bad or good or whatever. Whereas, like, I don't agree that most people feel that way. I think that people would probably accept some restriction in their autonomy if it meant like a guarantee of like better outcomes. Is kind of what I mean.
okay, but I do think, wait, don't you agree with the position that you should have the autonomy to fail?
I mean, we have to really dig into what that statement means.
Okay, so how are you gonna like rail on quote unquote conservatives without knowing what the statement means?
I know what the statement means. I just don't know what you think the statement means. That's why I'm saying we'd have to dig into what that statement means.
Sure. What is it for you?
So, like, in terms of like, should you have the choice to fail? Well, like the word choice there is
Psychologically, Destiny is right.
can mean a lot of different
American
things. So, like for instance,
interpretation
one could
of
argue
choice
that
is
every
odd.
person chooses to fail,
You'll have
regardless of where
1,000
you're born.
parties,
Because
but only have
theoretically, in the
2
United
main.
States, every person
1,000
could
channels,
succeed.
but only 2
They
main
could.
parties.
It's probably true in the United States. But for reasons, some people choose to be more financially irresponsible. Some people choose to deal drugs. Some people choose to be violent, etc., etc. We could argue that those are choices. They are.
Well, wait, if I have like my hand on a stove, is it a choice to like remove it?
No, but that's not the same type of like immediate physical pressure as we're talking otherwise. But that's a good line of questioning because then what I would pose as a question is like, well, hold on, how free are these choices actually? Because like the choice that somebody might make to do drugs after school is going to be a lot different if say I go to a rich school with lots of sports and after school programs versus somebody that goes to a shitty school with nothing offered after school, right? Like the choices are going to be a lot different. So to return to that question, like should everyone have the choice to fail? I mean, like I guess kind of maybe, but it depends on what kind of choices we're talking about. I don't think that before you're like 14, I don't think you should ever have to choose. I don't think there should ever be a major choice where like if you make the wrong choice,
Because it was so peaceful up here, but now there are freaking communists invading
Oh my
radicals.
god, thank you, Sonia.
Now, in terms of, like,
Because
should
it
you have
was
the
so
choice to, like,
peaceful up
maybe
here, but
take
now
a
there are
credit card debt,
freaking
or, like,
communists
loan,
invading
or, like, mortgage,
radicals.
like, these choices are
Wow,
probably
everybody's
okay,
getting-
because
It
they
was
lead
so
to abject
peaceful up
failures
here,
easily.
but now there are
It's just-
freaking
I'm just saying it depends
communists
on the type of
invading
choices
radicals.
we talk about.
All these
I can narrow it
communists
if you want.
invading
Because it
radicals.
was so peaceful up here, but now there are freaking
Freaking communists invading radicals.
So the two things I noticed is
Because
like,
it
one,
was so
why
peaceful up
is
here,
the, like,
but now
why
there are
is the
freaking
age
communists
is it just
invading
a pragmatic
radicals.
thing? Because like, why is it like when I'm 17?
Thank you so much,
like, I'm
Sonia.
smart enough to make my own decisions, but as soon as I'm like I'm not smart enough to make my own decisions, but when I'm
Oh my god.
how is it more moral for a 17-year-old not to do something than an 18-year-old to do something? Wouldn't you want to base off like how cognitively limited it is?
Meow.
Because there's some 23-year-olds that are dumber than some 17-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So ideally, what we would do is we would hook
Yeah.
everybody up to a brain scan machine, and then we would like perfectly figure out like their level of rationality. But
Meow.
unfortunately, we can't do that. So we just use age as a proxy. We kind of have
Meow.
to, right?
Okay, sure. So that was on the pragmatic side. Okay, next, I actually
Thank you for the raid.
when you say like, okay, do you think people under 18 shouldn't allowed to have money? Because one mess up with
Whoa,
money
we got the
and you could be messed up for
Canva
life.
emotes in
Not
chat.
generally,
That's
because
pretty cool.
generally, with some very special exceptions, if you're under 18, you can't usually sign contracts. So like you can't get like a credit card or stuff like that.
Okay, should people under the age of 18
Good night,
never be
Sonia.
able to have intercourse? Because that can mess up your life.
It could. Unfortunately,
Okay.
that seems to be something that like
Meow.
you can't really stop or do anything about, and it's kind of like normal
Meow.
developmentally. So then what you do is hopefully arm those people with the tools to mitigate the ability
Meow,
to destroy
meow.
their lives. So that's why you should start teaching like birth control, contraception, stuff like that at earlier ages.
That just kind of defeats your point of like people under the 18 shouldn't have the ability to destroy
Meow.
their lives, which they should.
Wait,
Oh
you
my
think
god,
they
I can't
should
stop
have the
meowing in
ability to
chat. I'm
destroy their lives
sorry.
under
I'm like,
18?
if I ever,
and we're just talking about like moral. So like let's
Wait, yeah,
just-
wait. Okay, wait. Let me
if
ask
I
you a question.
ever
Just testing that, 'cause I
debate
think that you
Destiny,
agree
I'm
with me. I don't think
definitely
you
going to
actually
use
agree with that.
meowing
Do you think that it would
as
be
a
unethical
strategy,
for
as
somebody
a
to offer to
basic
sell
debate
heroin to
strategy.
fifth graders at recess? They should have the choice whether or not they want
Do
to
you think
buy it
that's
or not.
bad faith?
unethical.
Yeah, should somebody be able to sell heroin to fifth graders at recess if they want to? And then should the fifth graders be able to make the choice of
We
buying it or not?
stand meow. Meow.
Give me a second.
Meow.
Probably, I don't think it's ethical to sell heroin.
Why?
Period. I think like the effects of like the dangers of heroin can outweigh any cost or like
Too powerful as a
heroin
debate
strips away your
tactic.
individuality because like there's no test case for heroin. Like
What do you mean it strips
Reminded
away your
of
individuality?
my pretentious
Wait, real
hipster
quick, I just
uncle
want to tell you where I'm going with this, okay? So it doesn't feel like I'm trapping you. Because I'm about to ask you a series of questions.
With
because
Destiny
it
or
almost
with
sounds like you're
the
saying that
16-year-old?
you want to get rid of heroin because it strips you of your autonomy. It almost sounds like that's the direction that you're going with. And then I'm going to ask you, well, shouldn't we have the choice to fail like that? Because you said we should have the choice to fail. Well, shouldn't you be able to choose to do heroin and destroy your life? Like, that's where I'm going with this line of questioning. So.
okay, well I didn't say you should have the choice to fail always. Of course, like you should.
Yeah, thinking cat Destiny blew her up over that.
Okay, cool. That's good. That's a reasonable point. I agree with you. So the question that I would ask next is, well, when should you be able to choose when to fail?
What did Bob
what's
7
the-
do?
Like, what's the metric? Like, what's the bar there? Like, you should be able to choose to fail.
I
and in these
could
circumstances,
never
but
get
not
into
these-
that
like, what's, like,
drama.
the litmus test you have there to figure out when that is.
There's too much lore that you had to know to understand.
If I feel like the freedom
Bob 7
of, I mean, this is gonna be super subjective.
And every time I tried to watch any streams on it, I just got bored. So like I couldn't. It was just like it's like too personal. I don't know, chat. I don't know for some reason.
So for example,
of the individual action outweighs.
Right. For example, I think like AR-15 should be allowed because like the freedom
Something
to
about
have,
its
like, an AR-15
cadence
outweighs like the 50 people who like dies from an AR-15. Do you understand?
No, because now I'm gonna ask you, how do you weigh those?
How do I weigh the value of freedom?
Yeah, how do you measure that up?
There's like a lot of things. A lot of conservatives use the Constitution to measure freedom.
Well, I don't think the Constitution is a good thing to go by because we could change that, right?
The Marxist-Leninist Meowist gang.
How would you measure freedom?
I don't really care about it that much. I think that freedom is important insofar as we are able to like do things that make us happy, but like that's not like a thing that I attach like a huge value onto. I don't think. I think it's a very. I think traditionally it's a very liberal idea.
Destiny, not the fetus.
Like married to that concept, I guess.
Gotcha. So in your utopia, people under the age of 18 wouldn't be allowed to have sex.
I think with each other, I think it's fine. Because one, I think it's unavoidable, and two, I think it can be practiced in a safe.
In your utopia.
In your utopia.
Yeah, of course. Kids are gonna fuck each other all the time. Yeah.
Okay. So in your utopia, it's still allowed to have sex. So don't ask about like the moral, like the pragmatics about it. Let's
Wait.
Just talk about like.
What? I don't think that my pragmatic and my utopia are the same there, though. I don't think there's a contradiction there.
Okay. So you said like, it wouldn't be pragmatic to have like people under the age of 18 not because like they're gonna do it anyways. But it sounds like that doesn't matter to you. That was just a red herring, because you would still have it in your utopia, right?
Well, yeah, but even in a utopia. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. If you're talking about like a utopia where I can shift and modify like all
Wait, are we talking about a utopia or just like a
until they were like 25 or until they were like financially independent and like ready to get married and everything? If that was like the optimal case, that'd probably be the case. It'd probably save a lot of trouble. If I don't know if you utopia you meant like we're modifying like human like desire and everything too, but
well, like in like hypotheticals, in like extreme hypotheticals that I deal with, it's just like we don't really care about the pragmatics. We just want to test like people's moral systems.
This is like a true debate lord, only deals in extreme hypotheticals.
Like, people should only have the
weird.
best way to have sex is if you're like financially independent, if you're smart enough, and like you agree to this?
You gotta be smart enough. You gotta take an IQ test before you can have sex.
I mean, you could either run that way in an ideal utopia, that people just don't have sex ever until they're 25, and we somehow like changed fundamentally all human desire. But then the other direction you can go is you recognize that there is some level of human desire, but instead of this, in this utopia, you've perfectly educated every person.
7 was a fair-weathered sailor.
So then people begin having sex whenever they feel those urges.
Secrets
but they always do
to
it with, like,
stepladder
protection,
popularity, basically the plot of the talented Minister Ripley minus the murder.
That someone can do in their life.
Yeah, but you just said in a utopia. So how utopian are we being?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. Okay, I didn't expect you to bite that bullet. Okay, so more on freedom. Okay, so if we just restricted...
Destiny bites a lot of bullets.
So your thing about freedom
It's kind of his thing.
Okay, so if we just like arbitrarily restricted everyone's right to go to like third world dangerous countries, would you like be allowed with that? Because more people are gonna like
asshole countries
than there are going.
How right wing is this kid?
Like, say we like banned like.
I get the feeling the kid's a little bit of a right winger.
Americans going to the most dangerous place in the world. Would you be okay with that?
Would I be okay with Americans?
You know, all those foreign countries and so dangerous.
No, banning travel of like the most dangerous places in the world, because America has like autonomously decided to say like the dangers of going to this place outweighs your freedom of going there. What would be your argument against that?
I guess if they want to go there, they could. I don't think I'd be in favor of banning it.
Oh, okay. I think. Wait. Okay.
Oh.
Right. You just saw what you did there, right? I think.
So you're gonna try to say that? Well, actually, right here, you just proved my argument because you do value people's autonomy. But just because I don't want to make laws blocking people's values, just because I don't want to make a law, so we're doing like you're trying to do a contrapositive, but I don't think it works here. You're saying that just because I don't want to make a law blocking somebody's autonomy, that it doesn't logically follow then that I do want to make laws allowing people's autonomy. Does that make sense? So I wouldn't make arbitrary, just to be clear, I wouldn't make arbitrary laws restricting people's freedoms if I didn't think it was incredibly important. But just because that's the case, that doesn't mean that then I want to focus all of my new policy on expanding people's freedoms. That's just not something I care about.
Okay. Well, okay. Why wouldn't you want to just like... Okay, what's the argument against arbitrarily restricting people's freedoms?
If there's not a good, compelling reason to, then it would be politically unpopular. There wouldn't be like much of a reason. I don't know why you'd do it.
Please tell me this kid's not like some kind of a weird authoritarian or monarchist or something. Please tell me this is not a doobie. This is not a doobie progeny.
Banning of just freedom. Just
doobies, like laid eggs and all these people's brainworms.
So because you have a response to acting out freedom, you do value it to a certain extent, right?
Yeah, so I told you in the beginning, or not in the very beginning, but I said I could build a bridge here and I could say, like, sure, we could have, like, some value of autonomy. I just think that autonomy is, like, way, way, way less important than meeting, like, all of your little fundamental needs first, and that people tend to overvalue autonomy, or they think they overvalue autonomy.
Oh, my bad. I must have misheard that. Okay, well, yeah, I think, like, and also, I would think every conservative would agree with that.
That's like a weird argument unless you like really attach it to something and say like, for example...
can we talk about our next debate topic?
Like, it's almost like very... I can't really tell where he's... like, what are the implications of that
are you up
position?
For just like a vegan debate?
Of course, he's always up for... He loves those. He loves them.
Yeah, just a couple of questions. Okay.
Princeton's favorite kind of debate, the vegan debate.
Try to restate your position. Your position is...
second only by cancel culture debates.
When I create my fundamental axioms, I don't value animals, right?
Correct.
You're lost? Okay. Are you, like, existentially lost?
I just have, like, a couple questions about that, and we can, like, stop it. Okay. What would you say... Yeah, what would you say a white person... What would you say to a white person in the mid-'80s that says, like, when I create my fundamental value axioms, I don't value black people? What would you say to convince that guy?
I disagree.
Okay. That's... Okay.
His favorite topic is inward envy, of course. Of course. Pepe La D.
Disagree there. But, like, that's not gonna... But you're not kind of like... Is there not a good...
I want to debate.
Moral system? Is that it?
Fundamentally, no. But I can compel my moral system because if he does bad shit, then we kill him with police officers or we arrest him and put him in state prisons, right?
Okay, so in the time of slavery, if you were to go
why
to,
doesn't he have the fence all the way around?
Your best argument to his moral axioms is just like, no, man, I don't agree. Is that your best argument?
Let me try to figure out what you're asking. When you say best argument, are you trying to ask me what would be the most rhetorically effective, or what would be the most like I'm going to win the debate in like a intellectual form, or what exactly are you asking?
Yeah. It's like not like persuasive form. You can be like, oh, but the blacks, but like just on the intellectual form. If he starts his axioms without thinking of black people, how? There's got to be like there's nothing more you can do but say you disagree.
I don't think so. Not like on. I don't know because I don't believe in any type of like objective like moral truth or anything. No. Like if it was what I would probably do is I'd try to find like if he was religious I'd try to appeal to that system or something. But I don't think there's some like fundamentally true moral statement in terms of valuing different groups of people.
Okay. Sure. We'll move off the veganism topic. How do you feel about abortion?
I am very, very, very slightly against it right now. Like 49-51%. I'm in favor of it. Like 49-51, 51-49 in favor of abortion right now.
Gotcha. Okay, let me just run down the argument.
In favor of it being legal?
I think everyone in America is a little bit split. Why don't you value a fetus's life in the womb?
I think at one point, I used to just blanket value human life. That was kind of like my starting point. And then I think I changed it to from human life to human experience. It seems to be more important, and it gets me out of trouble in other places as well. And as long as you aren't conscious at all, it seems that you're not having an experience to speak of. So it's kind of hard to say that any value should be placed on you because you're not experiencing anything.
Gotcha. If some like alien overlord came down and wiped made everyone unconscious for 2 seconds, could I genocide the whole earth?
You could, and I mean, I guess nobody would experience anything. Yeah. So I guess it's nice that you bit in on that. So the only problem that I have right now with my thought, the reason why I say I'm 5149, rather than doing the alien thing, my question would be like, let's say somebody's having a dreamless sleep. Could you just kill them? Would it be unethical to do so? See, I don't know what the answer to that is. It seems like from where I'm at right now, the answer would be like, I don't really think it would be unethical. It's not like they're experiencing anything negative when you kill them. I've seen more exotic arguments related to like a continuing experience, or if you've had an experience that's going to continue, maybe that should be protected. But
like the gameplay, yeah. It's just what Destiny does while he debates sometimes.
Born without any experience, could I stab it?
If it's not having an experience, which to my
but if you're saying that I should be on that server, you're absolutely right, and go tell Destiny that.
Okay, what during the like
go bug Destiny.
Well, no, because I think the idea is that a fetus starts to have an experience around, isn't it around like 3 months?
Okay, wait, so you're abortion friendly until 3 months?
Until you're having an experience, whenever that conscious experience begins to form, I guess.
Okay, so you're a deadline person, right?
What is a dead? Is that a term for something? What is a deadline person?
Well, you're like, okay, when it's on through. It's not okay, but before that, it is okay, right? Is that your?
It's not okay when it is.
How do you feel about Catgirls, Destiny?
I'm just like restating your position. So you're saying.
Oh yeah. Oh sorry. Oh, I understand. Yeah, it's not. So it's not so much a deadline. It's more of like, or I'm not valuing like the deadline. I'm just looking at like, well, when does the conscious experience start? That's what I'm looking at. If you want to call that a deadline, then sure. But that's like, I'm looking for something qualitative there, not just like a time. Like 3 months is the okay time. It's more like yeah.
Okay. Why do you value a conscious experience so much?
Did Irene? No, I didn't get banned. It's just a server that I'm not like on
or like
the list of or whatever.
So
like I didn't really
axiomatically, right?
I haven't really played video games with
past like
Destiny.
epistemic truth and everything to get like.
I don't know if I want to be over there. Like I just like run into Vivian or something. It'd be awkward.
Start with is like I value conscious human experience.
Why?
I don't have. That's a foundational belief.
I don't even know what the fuck is like. It's just
I don't think if you think you can go.
People just hang out in his Discord or something, and then he unmutes and like from time to time, and he'll be like.
Right, but I feel like conception's a little bit more rock hard.
It's just weird. It's not how I do things.
Why though?
Should I just have people hanging out in my Discord?
Like the egg is fused, right? That's what it is.
I do need to bring more people on. I just like
new DNA.
It's a lot of coordination, and that means like committing to a definite time.
Oh, no.
Also, nobody like play. Nobody's awake when I'm awake, so it's hard to have people on.
This was like I think like Steven.
Except on Monday when we stream early. So if you don't know,
okay, gotcha.
And
used to be exactly
many of you don't seem to know.
Okay, go ahead.
I stream early on Monday.
Yeah.
That is 8 o'clock
so you already
Eastern Standard Time.
Well, no, this is exactly what it was. Because my issue
is early for
I want
me.
the most
way early
consistent way to define human life.
And
it seems
last
like
week we
the formation
talked
of
to
the zygote is when you have your own unique
Demon
genetic
Mama
structure. That seems to be like the most consistent.
About some really distressing drama that's going on in the Twitch community
I
with
think that's more consistent than
what was supposed to be
the conscious experience.
Really important project.
Okay, here's my thought. I wouldn't have so fast. Alien overlord species came down and like erased.
Oh my god, here we go. I'm sorry, I'm like talking over the debate. So, like, I'll tell you in a second, chat. We'll actually watch that in a second, the Demon Mama debate. Or it wasn't a debate. We agreed on everything. That's the problem, chat. We don't really disagree on much.
For you, okay? What do you think people should do with your corpse? Or do you have a preference about what happens to your corpse?
Sure. Donate it to science is probably like the best one.
Yeah, but once you're dead, do you think you have a preference at that point?
Oh, after you're dead?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, if you believe in an afterlife.
Do you believe in an afterlife?
Yeah. But, okay, I get what you're saying.
Well, because, so the next question is going to be like, because I don't think, there might be things that I want before I die, but once I'm dead, I don't think I can state a preference. Like, I don't really have any at that point. So I wouldn't want somebody to come down and erase my conscious and then kill me. But once I have no conscious experience, I don't really think I would have a preference one way or another. That would just be like, oh, I guess I just have no consciousness, and then boom.
Okay, but why would that stop at like killing someone without a conscience. Like, after you're dead, you can't.
This is such a Debatelord fucking conversation, dude. This kid.
Right.
Well, I'm saying that you don't really state any, like, it
Destiny,
seems like
is this your fault that this kid is like this?
Forth, like, certain preferences that we, like, consciously value. That might be tautological, but in order to put a preference forward,
is this kid from Destiny's community?
Disappears.
Oh my god!
Come up and
so
like I just naturally am like little
Red
dude.
blood.
So like,
Thank you for the follow.
Because they have
Meow.
a conscious experience.
Meow meow.
Possibly actually. I read an interesting paper on fuck, I wish I could remember who this was, but it was the idea that if you put a person in jail with Alzheimer's disease, and let's say that you lock them up for a certain crime, and let's say after a period of time has passed, and they don't remember ever committing that crime, and all that memory is gone, is it ethical to keep them in prison? And I found that argument pretty compelling. It's like, well, I don't know. That's really strange. You're punishing essentially a whole different person almost.
No. Okay, so the reason why it's like why it's unethical to keep him there is because he's no longer a danger to society, not because he's a whole new person.
Well, but that's not the argument that paper was making. You could make that argument. That'd be a different argument to make. But the argument the paper was making is that the person is essentially like a whole different person at that point. That
it's the
what is essentially an entirely different person with a whole new set of memories in prison.
That's a weird.
Okay.
I'm not saying that's the only way to look at it. I was just saying that I read a paper on that and it was interesting. I'd never really thought about that before, so I kind of like changed my mind a little bit about that.
Okay, so my fundamental value, and just agree or disagree if this is wrong, I think it's a less
I hate these.
If we say F all unconscious people, or like F all people with a less conscious experience. Okay, how about this? If someone has a more conscious experience than someone else, does that make them a greater person?
Consciousness feels a little bit binary to me. I don't know if we can say that one person is having a more conscious experience than another person. I'm open to be corrected on that, though.
Okay.
Yeah, because that could definitely be a road to a eugenicsy argument.
Topic, I would have to answer, why should we value people with no conscious experience? And that's what I need to change your mind.
Yeah, kind of. Like, it feels to me that we're talking about, like, basically, like, really... When I say axiomatic, what I mean is like these are the starting rules we need to get any system off the ground. And then by definition, axioms are like they don't have proofs. They just are. They're asserted, right?
The real danger
unless you can provide
is that Destiny was teaching people basic debate
so like maybe it produces
tactics.
A result that's
so much miscalculation
or unsatisfying. I guess when we're talking about morality, then it seems like there's not really much of a counter to that type of assertion. Like it just is.
Okay. Fair. Okay, let me.
Orthogonally axiomatic. Oh my god.
Okay, so say like if you have like a close
actually
relative,
came up today.
If they had like an experience that made them lose consciousness.
It turns out Destiny was
back in like
using
say 2 months,
that word to mean almost the opposite of what it actually does mean.
From what I've given so far, it seems like the answer should be that you should be able to kill them. Which is obviously deeply unsatisfying. I haven't explored it enough yet, but the thing that I mentioned before is it seems like some people would make the argument that there is value in like the continuing of an ongoing experience. So for instance, when you go to sleep, you were conscious and then you will be conscious later.
I think
some people I've heard make that argument.
You know, tangential, I guess, would have been...
I don't know how I feel about it.
A better... Or adjacent. Adjacent's like the perfect word for that, what he was trying to say.
Like you think they're gonna suddenly value that fetus consciousness? I think that's a red herring. Okay, my next question.
But to be clear, the main reason why this conflict is important is because I know that adult humans are conscious. I know that to be the case, 100%. So if we need like a really good argument to value something that has no experience, to value that thing over like a 100% thing that's having an experience. So like a woman that wants to have an abortion, right? We need a really good reason to value the fetus that is not currently having an experience. You need a really good reason to value that. That's the only reason I'm bringing this up.
Okay. So
it's funny that somebody just referred to the
Okay, if an alien race wiped out our
the Debatelord as the fetus,
we would be conscious the second later, is it okay for them to genocide us?
If an alien thing wiped out our consciousness and we would be conscious later. Oh, so like say they put us all to sleep, basically.
Yeah, and
as an engineer with a grad degree in finance, I have seen many a time important smart people use big words in totally wrong ways, and everyone unknowingly just nods their head, yeah.
Before that second is up.
In impressment and amazement, yeah.
I mean, like,
especially when a word sounds like it would mean something.
Right? So I don't know the answer, right? Like I said, some people argue that there's value in like a continuing conscious experience. I'm sympathetic to that argument, but I haven't explored it enough personally yet, so I just don't have a strong feeling about it.
Okay. That's an interesting debate. We'll touch back on it because I do feel like a better moral system. I do feel like it's like just like less.
We say perpendicular
to not care about conscious people
in the U.S.
I think I could convince you on that. I think
it's. I've never heard anyone say orthogonal besides Destiny.
I know you got a lot of in trouble for your Kyle Rittenhouse take. Can you restate that again?
Well, I think that when you watched all the videos for Rittenhouse, it just seemed obvious it was in self-defense.
Perpendicular, yeah, okay. That's a lot more common.
So your position is like self-defense is okay if you brandish a weapon first, right? If you like.
Well, depends on. We need to be very careful on how we. I'm going to be a real stickler on how we define everything. What do you mean when you say brandish a weapon?
I don't know if that's like a hard term.
Sorry, when I hear the term brandish a weapon, that usually to me means that you're showing a weapon in a threatening way. So somebody walking into a store and like taking out a gun and like looking at it like in a gun store, that wouldn't be considered brandishing a weapon. But if you take out a weapon, you're like, hey, stop! Like I'm gonna shoot.
Vector
like
space axioms.
That's my understanding of like when somebody says they brandished a weapon. That's what that means. Not just that they just have a gun out or you can see a gun, but that they're kind of using it.
Could you explain in a 600-page essay?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's good. If you believe that's fine. I'm just making sure we're on the same page there. Because what I don't want to do is want to say, yeah, if you brandish a weapon, then you're being an aggressor. And you're like, oh, well,
all individuals, as I'm opposed to nuclear weapons. But if the UK went nuclear against,
I'm asking you a lot of questions because I'm trying to catch you, or because I think we disagree. I'm just making sure we're using the same definition.
Claim, should I carry that guilt?
It feels like I committed to something that I didn't actually. That's all I'm saying. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Okay. So did you get in?
Yeah.
So here's the part. Did you get in trouble because like, why do they have to warn you first?
Why does who have to warn who first?
Oh,
it's
for
like
the.
You said Kyle Rittenhouse, because like on the debate.
For the Kenosha pile.
Like, Kyle Rittenhouse has to like warn you first. I saw your.
Oh yeah.
Big Joel, and it's like you have to warn someone first, and then you can shoot. Why is that?
I don't know if I feel like I don't know if I said that. If somebody's aggressing on you, I don't know if you have to warn them before you shoot them. If they're like.
You said. Yeah.
Oh my god, this dude has studied Destiny's like.
I'm gonna shoot you if you take my Walkman.
Ways. You've studied.
Walkman, and
you studied the gnomish ways.
His life is ended. Why do you have
I think that more generally speaking, I was probably talking about the concept of like putting somebody on notice. That like maybe it's important that if you.
Why do you have to put someone on notice?
I don't know if it's necessarily a requirement. This is like the one I've got like 3 different requirements for self-defense, and this is the one that I kind of go back and forth on. But like it feels to me like I think that the biggest argument in favor of self-defense is that the other person in a way is consenting to the situation they're putting themselves in. It's like if I break into somebody's house, I know that I'm gonna get fucked up if somebody catches me. But I feel like if somebody doesn't have that knowledge, then it becomes a little bit more hazy. I'm like, well, is it okay to like murder a person if they don't actually know that that's what's happening? Like I feel like that consent part is pretty important, that they're kind of consenting to the agreement of like, well, if I do this, I could get fucked up, you know?
But gotcha. But in a world where you have to like brandish your weapon first, I can go in like without like
Has the left finally given up debating Destiny and just hired him to be a socialist? What?
If you hadn't brandished your weapon, you're basically granting every single bad person until.
Hold on, wait. Your mic lag for a sec. Say that again.
Okay, gotcha. In a world where you have to like warn them first, you're basically granting every bad person immunity until they've been warned that they're about to.
Not necessarily. Keep in mind, my Big Joel debate, that was about defense of property, not defense of life. Like I don't know if you need. I don't think you need to put someone on notice. Like if somebody's coming up behind somebody to rape them or kill them, I don't think you need to put them on notice or whatever. I think you can just take whatever action. The Big Joel conversation was about defense of property, not a. What?
You can double jump in this game.
Gotcha. Let's just talk about property. Okay. I think. Wait, how are you not like giving like every bad guy immunity until someone else warns them?
It's probably just not good to just be indiscriminately killing people because they're trying to steal from you. There probably needs to be like a pretty big barrier to that. So like somebody needs to probably be aware that. I think it's probably a better.
Wait, okay, but you're fine with like every bad guy having immunity until the point.
Every bad guy. Every bad guy.
Immunity from
Dude,
being killed.
like, you just, like, thanks for reminding us that you're a 16-year-old kid. Like, right? You know, we were, like, you're pretty advanced Debatelord, right? But then it's like, you're still thinking of bad guys. Okay.
At least, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't agree to that.
Okay.
Because, like, essentially, you can infinitely steal things until there's a warning, right? You can infinitely steal, or, like, infinitely steal things until someone has a warning to you. And in the situation where it's, like, a grandma, and, like, oh, man, I'm, like, slow to put up a warning. Or, like, a dude's, like, really fast. Like, you're basically giving the bad guy a lot of ground. Does anything that I'm saying make sense?
I guess a little, but like,
Wait,
I'm okay with that.
anything...
Somebody can steal shit if they don't know that it's like wrong to do it infinitely, I guess.
I just don't understand.
Like, if you
hire
like
somebody, you think somebody should hire Destiny?
I don't think the farmer cares if I like pick some of his corn and eat it for supper.
Do you think that non-compete should hire Destiny to be like part of the channel or something?
Do that. We live in Nebraska. I like,
if you don't
know that it's wrong and you're just doing it infinitely, I guess it's not bad. But then if somebody catches
like
you, like,
EJ Luna and Destiny,
it's like, okay, sure. I think that's. I don't think that's.
Will Destiny be on the next Mooncast?
It's more like my situation is like some grandmas in their house. I can like infinitely still like, and say they got like a collection of motorcycles.
Oh, thank you.
I can infinitely steal those motorcycles.
Thank you, Zerdov.
Until she puts me on notice that I'm going to die if I take another motorcycle.
Meow.
I
we're kind of talking about that. I mean, like, I don't know.
You don't think there's going to be
they mentioned the Kenosha Kyle thing.
But I mean, like, that could also apply to, I guess, like,
oh, I like that
I'm
weapon.
trying to engage with a hypothetical, but
I like the AoE of that weapon.
This hypothetical is pretty extreme.
Oh, I gotta get one of those, chat. I think I can make one. I think I just gotta get enough.
I don't think anybody's gonna leave a motorcycle out
bronze.
with its keys out, like in some random place for somebody to walk by and just drive it away. Motorcycles are usually, like, at the very least in somebody's driveway with the key hidden, or in somebody's garage. I think if you're walking onto somebody's property, taking their motorcycle, I think you're pretty much know that what's gonna happen.
Okay, fine, bike. Like, it doesn't have to be a motorcycle. And this is actually a pretty like realistic hypothetical to like say like, oh,
Steven
I can
Crowder is
steal a
alive.
bike before someone puts me on notice that they're going to shoot me.
I think that most people in society though know that like stealing a bike is wrong. You're not allowed to like steal a bike, right?
Okay. So let me rephrase your position. If they know it's wrong, then it's okay.
Steven burned his bridge with non-compete last year.
I don't know if it'd be okay to blast
But like,
them.
who was saying like the left should hire Destiny?
You don't care. You don't care if they know if it's wrong. I don't know. That was just a red herring.
As a debate coach, what?
You gotta stop using the term red herring because you're gonna trigger me, and then I'm gonna start screaming at you. Okay. Number one. Number two. Okay. There's a difference.
There we go. That's a good idea.
One is the defense of property with
check the vods. That's a great idea.
The other is the defense and protection of property with deadly
Destiny
force.
becomes a socialist just out of spite.
To be clear.
Just so to show he could do it better. He can make those arguments better. Look, my dude. If I was gonna make your argument, I'd make it like this.
Or something. But when I discuss like self-defense, I only discuss deadly force because like if you're not discussing deadly force, you exclude some of the population. So you exclude like the grandmas who like aren't like physically capable of doing something.
Dude, this kid loves this Big Joel debate. Oh, he's right in that fucking mind frame of like, what about the little old lady, dude? She's about to get rent. She's about to get fucked up by this like monster of a dude. Just fucking. This dude is like 7'2". He's fucking built like a shit brick house. He's coming for her, dude.
I do not care if they know that it's wrong.
All she can do,
somebody is stealing
all she's got is a revolver.
Yep. And they know it's wrong. You don't care about that.
Yeah, wait, I think I do. I think they would have to know that it's wrong, yeah.
No. Okay. We just said, okay. If you rewind a couple seconds back, we just said, even if they know it's wrong, the grandma shouldn't be able to, like, blast the guy without putting them on notice. Well, so you actually don't care if they know it's wrong.
Because I think that the person would probably act differently if they knew their life was going to be on the line for violating, like, that particular norm or whatever.
Okay, that's fine, but you don't care if they know it's wrong. That's irrelevant. Because even if they know it's wrong, they still have to have the notice. So why'd you bring it in the conversation?
Okay. Let's rewind this to be very clear. We're talking about killing somebody for stealing something. If somebody is going to steal something, and they're going to be killed for stealing it, they need to know that if they try to steal that thing, they're going to be killed for stealing it. That's what needs to happen.
Okay, so that's all about the notice section. They have to be put on notice. That's what you're saying.
Yes.
But okay, but even if they know it's wrong, they still need the notice, right?
Wait, stop talking about if it's wrong. I don't know what the wrong thing. That doesn't matter now, because you said you only want to talk about lethal self-defense. So the knowing it's wrong thing or whatever, that's just for general. That's not relevant.
Okay. So we agreed that didn't matter. Okay.
No. Wait. Now, we agree that if we only want to talk about like lethal self-defense or whatever, then now we're in a different area. Yes. Okay. So they need to be. Somebody needs to know that if they steal something, they're going to be executed for it. Or if they're going to be executed for it, they need to know that that's like a thing that they're making.
Okay. Now clearing up all that dookie, can we go back to the actual example? Because I think it's because you were attacking the realism of my example.
Just called what Destiny's argument dookie. Chat, I've said some spicy things about Destiny's arguments before. I don't think I've ever called them dookie.
He's gonna die. So in that
he just came for Destiny where he lives.
Allowing infinite immunity to athletic people.
You got a dookie argument, Destiny. He just called you out. Holy shit.
Until the notice is given. Do you
Oh my god, look at this burgeoning little Debatelord.
Sure, but the notice could just as easily be a sign outside,
Dookie.
or the notice could be the type of
the Green Day album
to do to get to the bicycle.
The kid is all tipped,
so
no iceberg.
If you're breaking into somebody's property in American society, I would consider that
I like
to be
that. I like that he's already calling it. I like that he's got the.
Okay, so
like he's got like there's so many kids that would pee their pants if they, you know,
strict self-defense.
They think Destiny's cool if they got to, or you know what I mean. They think that Destiny's this big star. They'd pee their pants.
Come up and like I just naturally am like.
Thank you, Zerdav.
Yeah, I just don't agree that you have to be, put on notice. Like,
I think that it's important that
he just wants grandma to be able to pull that trigger and not worry about fucking
killing somebody for stealing
ethics.
That
Come
argument
on.
for me usually hinges
Let
on
grandma fucking
knowing that this is the gamble.
Rinse people.
I don't think it's fair. Because
wait, how is it?
Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me start from very.
Let grandma shoot.
So, when I start to build up my moral system axiomatically, okay, I'm looking to maximize whatever world I would happen to exist in, okay? So if I'm talking about some maxim or some principle or some idea that I'm going to apply in society, I want to make sure that I would be okay being on both ends of that system in every conceivable interaction, okay? So whatever moral system I construct, whatever moral statements that I make, I want to make sure that I would be okay.
Shouldn't Destiny have been put on notice before he dropped Dookie on him? Yeah, I know. The kid should have put Destiny on notice.
Store,
like you're in danger of being
Tootsie Roll
killed
on a counter.
For that take
it looked like it'd fallen out
in
of
a video game.
Like, but I could just take this and eat it. I don't think I would be okay with me taking it, eating it, and being fucking executed. That's not something that I think I would be okay with. That's way too
slightly
fuck that shit. So I would not be okay being on
or stoned or something. I can't tell.
If there was a sign up in the store and it said, if you take a single fucking thing from
Doesn't
this
he
store,
sound slurring a little bit?
Then our fucking Korean
stoned.
grandma's gonna come out with a fucking mouse and a gun and she's gonna fucking blast you. Well, fuck it then. Right. I'm okay with it. You know what? I read the sign. I can read. You know what? If she kills me, she kills me. I got it. Much the same that, like, if I'm breaking into somebody's house and I'm stealing something.
8-year-olds, Destiny, 8-year-olds.
I'm breaking into a house. If the motherfucker catches me here, he's gonna kill me. I know that's what's going on, right? There's a form of like of engagement with the system there.
I haven't heard Dookie in ages.
That's what I say when I mean on notice. Is that somebody is like prepared to like they understand like the rules
it's
that
on my
exist
YouTube channel.
And I would be okay being on either side of that. But the notice part is important because let's say, for instance, I'm in another society, and
there
let's
was
say that
one
in that
time
society,
that we didn't really disagree on
people for looking
much.
at men's elbows.
But yeah, I
had
debated.
No idea. I would not be.
I debated Destiny about Demon Mama, like whether she was like horrible and bad for trans people and like should be like canceled. Basically, I was like, yeah, no, I don't think that Demon Mama should get canceled.
Okay, existing in some society where I could be executed for a rule that I didn't know existed. So when you ask me, could people infinitely steal motorcycles out of grandma's garages, as it exists today culturally in the United States, I think that everybody should realize that if I break and enter into somebody else's property and I try to steal a fucking vehicle, there is a good chance that somebody...
you're remembering a different one, Tavert. I did...
said that's not very physically capable could come...
I did very much disagree with Destiny and... come
out and kill me in the process of me trying to steal their shit. I'm okay with both sides of that engagement. Does that make sense from start to finish?
Yeah. That was very, okay. I understand more, and that was very humorous. But I also do have, like, a couple of, like, rejections. Okay. So first, I don't think looking at men's elbow is, like, a comparable example, because even in that example, it's not fundamentally immoral to look at people's elbow. It is fundamentally immoral to steal. And
okay, hold on, wait. No, hold on, wait. I do not agree that anything is fundamentally immoral, right? I already rejected any type of like moral realist claim, so I'm not going to start with anything being fundamentally.
No, that was
immoral.
like a different one. That was the one where that wasn't the one about Demon Mama. That was the one where it was like it was like love destiny.
So my definitions of immorality are going to stem from like agreements that we've made with each other in society that we all agree not to do. The reason why I used the elbow example.
Okay, back to veganism. Yeah,
example,
nice.
Okay? Let's say that two people exist in an office, a guy and a girl. And let's say the guy goes up to the girl and he goes to kiss the girl. And he knows she doesn't want him to, but he does it anyway because he thinks he's whatever. Like, that's kind of like, I don't know if we consider that sexual assault, but like, that's a form of assault. That's fucked up. But let's say that it's like a guy from fucking France or Italy, and he comes over and he goes, oh, and he gives her like a kiss on the cheek or whatever. I wouldn't say that that action carries the same weight because he's not aware of the cultural context that he exists in for how that action is going to be interpreted. That's what I mean when I say on notice. That person wasn't put on notice that that action would be like an assault because they come from a different background. And if I was that person, I would want to make sure that people are updating me to the new rules in a particular area before they fucking execute me for breaking those rules. That's why I use the elbow example as an extreme, but that's what I mean.
Well, gotcha. So you're okay with as long as you're from a different rule set, you can infinitely sexually assault like a particular, set of like you can infinitely.
I love that the kid's using Destiny's own like language against him.
So what if someone every single day gets amnesia and has to repeat the same day over and over again? You're basically giving them.
Oh, I love the fucking.
Wait. Okay, so we're conflating two very different things. Okay.
I love the thought experiments.
Property defense and personal like violations of autonomy are two different categories of things. For the property defense, I would be okay with somebody infinitely violating it before being murdered, but for violating somebody's autonomy, I don't think the same restrictions apply. I don't think that it is on you, the onus is on you to put somebody else on notice that something is okay before you defend yourself with violence against that thing. So,
stop.
You know what would be really fun, chat? I don't think
if it wasn't like.
I don't think I did a debate analysis of Demon Mama versus the Scrap King. If I did, I don't think I put it up on YouTube. That would be an interesting, YouTube video.
Personal. I got that.
Hold on. Oh my God. The analogy was just to explain what it means when I say there are different rules in society. Not that those two things are necessarily analogous. The reason why I used the kissing one is because it was a realistic example because you rejected.
Thank you for the follow, Warp Souls.
The elbow example, but if you want, we can go back to the elbow example. But you said it was ridiculous hypothetical, but a lot of the hypotheticals you giving are kind of ridiculous. I just gave you a ridiculous one in exchange so you can understand the point that I was trying to make.
I mean, Debatelord recognized Debatelord Destiny. Come on.
Elbow was ridiculous. I said like looking at someone's elbow isn't. I'm not gonna say fundamentally immoral, but you would agree like looking at someone's elbow doesn't cause any negative utility or like isn't.
We don't know. Careful, because all of these things you're gonna make start to sound like realist claims. I don't believe that any negative utility is like inherently incurred by, depending on the action. We could probably find some like murder or rape, most kind of, but.
Gotcha. Okay. I don't care. Okay, can you find? Okay. So when I tried to attack your example of sexual assault, you did this thing where it's like, oh, we'll have different rules for people. Well, why would you use an example with people? Can you make that example using like items? If we're talking about property defense, why would you make an example using people? You know how that like confused the heck out of me.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do, okay? If you want to talk about one particular topic, then let's talk about that. But it feels like, and you know what? Maybe I'm making this mistake, okay? But it feels like we're jumping back and forth a lot between talking about defensive property and defensive person. I treat these two situations with way different, like, standards, okay? These are fundamentally different things to me.
Wait. You treat these two things with different standards.
Yes.
Why would you use a human personal example to support your object debate?
Because what I wanted you to take from that example is the idea that social norms might be different in such a way that you would be unnoticed in one society and not in another. Not to say that those two things were comparable, that stealing something is the same as looking at somebody.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, Zerda.
Okay, now going through all that dookie, let's go back
to
the
Dookie. We're back to the Dookie.
So you're saying
he's got a brand
every single day.
This kid knows how to use branding.
Let's make this more ridiculous.
This kid's gonna be like Haas. You know what I mean? He's got all his like terminology. He's gonna come up with like intellectual cool ups to call people.
Amnesia. to basically steal everyone's property or steal
Does it mean hoarding intellectual capital, or
that's what they did?
that people
I'm not
with no
necessarily
intellect
saying it's okay.
look up to you as a pseudo-intellectual?
Lethally punish somebody for doing this.
Oh my god.
There has to be a different amount of
You'll have to watch my
so let's just round this out into a
YouTube.
realistic example. Let's say somebody literally lives in like a fucking commune, and that's like their life, and they're flown.
So there's like a streamer named Haas that's you know, tanky streamer, and he always like says that he always like calls people intellectual kulaks if they fall into the Anglo blocks too much.
From their commune in South America. Now they come to NA and they walk around and they take shit from stores and they take shit from people because like, oh, that's just what we do. I don't think that it's okay to murder that person if they don't understand. Like, oh wait, this society plays by a totally different set of rules because that person doesn't. They're not engaging with that system in a way that is fair to punish them for it because they don't even know the rules. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, and I'm gonna ask you the same question.
But your dialectical dookie-ism, Destiny.
Like, really. Okay, so if it was
Joey Lewis used mozzarella brain
take. Their
take.
tradition is like every 4th of May, they
mozzarella
burn down
brain.
house, okay? And he comes to America and he doesn't, realize the rules. Is it okay? Or
Yeah, like no, I talk about. I've got some videos on Haas if you want to check it out.
No, okay. You're
but he's Haas is like hilarious.
Well, not infinite immunity because and
the question is, does Haas realize how hilarious Haas is?
It doesn't take many times to
or is Haas completely oblivious?
Okay.
To this fact, I don't know.
Okay.
I can't answer that
because I'm trying to be more rhetorically.
Is Haas a performance artist? Maybe.
But this analogy
he is pretty damn funny.
Absurd. So the analogy
it really boggles the mind.
Is you're saying that if there existed some society where arson was something that everybody committed and celebrated, and then this person came to another society and went to commit arson, would it be right to punish that person? I would argue, assuming there's no threat to life, because remember, I treat self-defense of person differently than defense of property.
Dude, if somebody wanted to walk around and set
things on fire, I would agree that it's not okay to punish that person with lethal force. But this analogy is incredibly, this hypothetical is very extreme.
Haas has to either pay me or prove that Lysenkoism exists.
Okay, now it's time to upgrade it a little bit. Say in their commune, they like to blow up their capital. Straight up TNT, Minecraft, nuke 'em. Is it okay to not act with lethal force against a guy who hasn't learned the rules and then blows up the U.S. Capitol? It's not okay in your moral system to act with lethal force.
Wait,
no,
then Mars attacks? Wait, right? Because didn't Mars attacks in that show?
There should probably be some program that integrates them into society because it sounds like wherever they're coming from is really fucked up.
We're talking about programs, Destiny, okay? We're talking about lethal force and defending lethal force. Okay, you bit every single bullet. Good job. You made it to the end of the rainbow. No more extreme hypotheticals for you. Okay. I finally get your position. I wouldn't be comfortable, and just to ground this back in reality, I wouldn't be comfortable with someone like just because they don't know the rules. And this is just property defense.
Okay.
Just because they don't know the rules, they can like act with impunity to lethal force. Like
Okay, let's test yours then. Let's say that you come into my house, and let's say that there's like
this kid wants to out Destiny and do a more Destiny argument than Destiny did.
Oh, and you're just like, oh, I wonder if this works, and you pull the hand. Should I be allowed to shoot you dead on the spot?
Like he wants to take Destiny's argument to a logical extreme.
I don't even want you touching my shit though.
That Destiny himself is not comfortable with. This is kind of funny. This is kind of funny.
It's not.
Seeing Destiny have to like kind of dial back a Bailey version of his position.
It's not.
No, hold on. No.
Bailey,
you're in my house, and let's say that I have a rule
Bailey
that
right there.
Shit in my house, but you don't know this.
This kid, that's what we're gonna call this kid. Okay, chat.
You come in my house, you touch the.
Wait, is it wrong to call a 16-year-old balls out Bailey? Maybe we shouldn't have a raunchy nickname for a 16-year-old. Okay, probably true.
No, because
Irene, think with your brain. Think with your brain. Okay.
Wait, what system
of
morality are you appealing to?
It's just funny that he's taking the Destiny position and making it even worse. It's just
that doesn't say anything about what's right or wrong. That's a normative system.
Okay. Can we just without getting into like what?
Yeah, no bueno for a kid.
No, okay,
we can't give the kid. We can't give the kid that nickname. No.
Extreme hypothetical you gave me. Okay. You have to engage with my hypothetical now. Okay.
I said no because I don't feel touching. Like okay. So just because
it's not a matter of what you feel. Maybe somebody feels like taking a bike shouldn't be that big of a deal either, right? I can't use that to defend.
You ask the person taking the bike, you're asking me, okay? So I don't think. Okay. Can we both agree it's not immoral to touch a Eminem man?
No, right? I think that morals are relative to each society. I don't think that there is some objective moral foundation or standard that I can appeal to. I don't believe that at all.
Okay. Let's not use moral, okay, because you hate that word. Okay. Can we agree
He's
that
allergic.
There's a difference between stealing and touching someone's Eminem figure?
Okay, you can't just say we're not going to use the word moral and then describe ethics to me like I somehow forgot what we're talking about.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, I just won't use the word. I just won't use the word.
Specifically clear. Like, why didn't you just change your hypotheticals and say like he took the M&Ms?
No, because I don't need to. Because we're talking about this is getting to the heart of my issue before, and you wanted to test with extreme examples,
Destiny's
like a community that just commits arson
and
blows their capital building.
Destiny, do you realize though?
Let's say there's a guy who wants to defend his property, and his rule is if anybody touches shit in my house, I'm
this kid is what you're creating.
Come in, you see like a little M&M guy, you pull
this is what your takes create.
You don't scale him, you pull it,
this is your
he turns around and
progeny.
he shoots you in the face. I'm asking you,
these are the
why
true children of
Princeton. Why would you defend him? The answer is, and I think you don't want to say, but the answer is, well, because you had no fucking idea. Or, more formally, you weren't put on notice.
No, it doesn't matter. Even if you have the idea, like, if you touch this M&M hand, you blow up. Because, like, okay, say you have the idea of, like, if you breathe, you're done. Okay? Even if you have that
No, breathing is something that you do personally that doesn't extend to...
Oh my god, these fucking thought experiments.
No, he's like, oh,
these thought experiments are out of control, Destiny.
Hot breath in the air. I found that is morally neutral. Bye. Boom. Like, okay, so why wouldn't he why couldn't you just use breathing? Breathing does affect people.
You can't counter my extreme hypothetical with an even more extreme hypothetical to avoid answering my hypothetical, okay?
I just answered it. I said no because
this is really ironic and funny. This is really good.
Touching someone's M&M hand is immoral, just as I don't think breathing hot air into the atmosphere.
So do you think that you should be allowed to impose your moral code and act in accordance with your moral code, even if it contradicts other people's moral codes around you?
Yes, 1,000,000 times over.
Okay, what if my moral code is if I see a black person, I should be able to throw a collar on them and enslave them?
Yeah, okay, that's an argument in my favor. I think...
Yeah, wait, no, you're saying I should be allowed to do that, even if it's different than yours. So how do you defend yourself rationally from that?
Wait, I think my moral system is the best. I think I should be able to impose my moral system on others, but I don't think others should be able to impose their moral system on me.
Oh, okay. So how do you know your moral system is the correct one then?
Oh my god.
Because I debated for so long. I'm the best.
This is totally cringe.
Unless anyone else is debating.
This is totally cringe.
Okay, let's say somebody fundamentally asserts that non-white people are lesser than white people. That's like a fundamental belief they have. How do you say that you're better? How do you say that your system is right and their system is wrong?
Oh, how would I win that debate? Okay, I would say according to my threshold deontologist, there's no moral. It's only positive for. Okay. Let's just live by the golden rule, for example. Okay, I wouldn't want to be a black person in a white man's world that treats me like garbage.
Yeah, but then the white guy would just say, oh, well, I'm a white person. I would never be a black person in a white person's world. And maybe they even bite the bullet and say, well, if I was a black person, I'd know my place and I'd be a slave. Now what do you do?
Okay, bro, no. Okay. If you're asking me to debate them out of their moral system, I don't know why you're asking me to debate someone else out of their
I'm not asking you to debate them. I'm showing you have a big problem if your system of morality is incompatible fundamentally with somebody else's, such that they have to accept your form of morality. Otherwise, you just run into weird areas. That's a really rough spot to be in. You're essentially in
oh my god, Chad, this is interesting.
I've got these beliefs and morals that I want to impose on other people, but
it's a bit much.
I can't really argue them, and I just want them to be I just want them to take them at face value, and if we disagree, then fuck them.
Well, then how do you ascribe morals? Because of course you're gonna have the person who's just crazy. I don't know. You can't even say mob rules or democracy because a mob could be crazy. So all you have to do is basically be like, my moral systems are better than yours. I luck and hope that you get into power and dictatorially, morally own these people. How would you do it in your system? How would you impose your morals onto others?
My moral? I have a certain moral code that I follow relating to creating contracts with other people. If other people reject that system, then depending on the types of rejections, they're either killed or cast out of society.
Okay. You're but that's not you. That's just society. You're oh, I have this moral system. I beg and pray that society agrees with me. Oh wait, they do. So if you're crazy, my society's gonna like. But that's not you doing anything. When you asked me, what are you going to do to like convince the the white nationalists? You said, what am I gonna do? Your answer.
No. I wouldn't pretend to be able to convince certain people. What I would say is, this is the type of society I live in. These are the rules. If you disagree with them, then you're either going to be killed or thrown out of society. So, for instance, I have a rule that says you're not allowed to murder people or rape people. If you disagree with that rule and you act on it, then you're going to be either murdered or you're going to be thrown in prison or you're going to be thrown out of society. Because I don't think I'm ever going to be able to argue against somebody's like meta-ethical positions. I don't believe those arguments are possible to win.
Okay, but you do believe your moral system is better, right?
Well, I obviously. Otherwise, if I thought another one was better, I wouldn't have mine, right?
Okay. So going back to the question, like, if someone touches your M&Ms, in your moral system, it's not inherently bad to touch someone's M&Ms.
That's correct. However, I would respect that request they would make. However, I would ask them to put me on notice of that request before they take lethal action against me. So I save myself from that because I wouldn't want to be on that end of that exchange.
Yeah, what if they put you on notice that you can neither leave the apartment or breathe out hot air?
No, I don't consent to being fucking kidnapped and put in somebody's apartment just for walking in that. No, no. Okay, you can't use your put on notice to like aggressively. I don't think you can like assert. It's the difference between like a positive and a negative assertion, right? I think that you can make I think you can make certain types of assertions towards people, saying that like you can't like positively perform a certain action, but you can't use your boundaries to like enslave somebody. So like I can't walk up to like a foreign woman and be like, hey, just so you know, my moral system means that you have to fuck me, and if you don't do that, like you're violating my morals. Like I don't think you can compel somebody else to an action.
Yeah, here's the question. As soon as you step into their house, they say they put you on notice. If you step anywhere ever again, you're gonna get blasted.
You have to give the person a way out. No, I would reject that person as well, and they should be cast out of society.
Wait,
you're talking about like using your personal morals to kidnap somebody. I don't think you can do that.
Wait, okay, why is it? No, okay. So you're saying like, you have to give them a way out, and I'm saying it has to be wrong. Why is my answer like, oh, you're dodging the question when I give my answer?
Because I don't believe that there's any sort of fundamental moral appeal you can make to show somebody that their meta-ethical positions are wrong.
Is the kid just fucking with him? Kind of. So he's making like a more Destiny argument than Destiny. It's really weird.
They should.
I can't convince anybody they're wrong. I have to rule by force, literally. I have to hope that I have the police and everybody behind me to enforce my particular system of morality, otherwise I'm fucked. I don't think
that
you can
only
argue
makes sense because he's putting his personal moral
otherwise no. Like if I exist on an island and the other person wants to eat me, I don't think there's some universal moral code that I can appeal to convince them otherwise. I just need to make sure that they can't eat me.
Okay. Rolling back, why was my answer wrong? If I said like, okay, I don't think it produces positive or like not positive utility. I don't care about utility. I don't think it violates the golden rule to touch the M&M's person's hand. Therefore,
did somebody train their little brother to own Destiny? It sounds like it.
It's fundamentally immoral to blast someone for touching someone's M&Ms.
Well, because it doesn't have anything to do with the question of like, what if somebody wants to enact something on you, but you not being aware that they were going to do that? If you were all on the same page in the beginning of like what was right or wrong, then all of these questions would be moot, right? Because the thief would always know that their opponent.
You asked me, what would be your defense of someone blasting someone? Like, why would you see like someone touching an M&M dispenser and getting blasted? Why would you see that as wrong? And I would say that as wrong is because it doesn't violate the golden rule. That's why I would see.
Well, but it depends on how far back we want to go. But it would violate even your golden rule.
No?
Yes.
How?
Oh, this motherfucker. Sorry. Okay, so I imagine that if you owned any particular piece of property, you probably want to be able to make like statements about how other people can use that property. Yeah?
How is Destiny this stupid? LOL.
Depends on the property.
No.
No, absolutely. Like, some properties, I just don't care if anyone uses it however they please.
If it is a piece of property that you personally own, I imagine that you want to be able to make statements regarding how other people can use that property.
sometimes I would make statements, sometimes I wouldn't. Okay, but
okay,
generally,
you win.
What?
You beat me. Okay.
What?
I can't. Okay.
Well, I don't care. Generally, yes. Go on.
Yes. The answer is obviously yes to that. I think you're scared of like walking into a trap, but the answer is obviously yes. You want to be able to make statements about like who can use or how somebody can utilize a particular piece of property you own. That would be part of your golden rule, is treating others as they'd want to be treated. So if this guy wants to have a statement about how people can use property in his house, I imagine you'd feel the same way. So why would you deny him the right to make that statement about his property when you want to be able to make those statements about your property? Maybe you wouldn't make that particular type of statement, but you'd want to be able to make statements about your property and how people can utilize it.
Chat, are we getting
That's cringe.
Also, did the troll just break the...
Cringe, okay? Because if I say like, okay, I want these standards, okay, because anytime anyone does anything, you can technically say that's violating the golden rule, because you, like, anytime you do anything to offend someone. So like, say like, I say words like they, and they trigger someone. You're saying, oh, you violate their golden rule because you wouldn't want to have a say in your absolute society of what words people should say. So technically you can say anything ever that I do could violate the golden rule. No, what I'm saying when I use the golden rule is like pragmatically what action they did, not a statement on the action, because I can make like these fundamental moral standards, but if someone violates those more like fundamental moral standards, that doesn't mean they inherently violate the golden rule. For example, if someone else had a standard that no one else should breathe because everyone's hot breath is fogging up the air in our atmosphere, I didn't inherently violate the golden rule because I breathe and I would want other people to follow my rules, and I broke one of their rules technically. No, I would only violate the golden rule if I did an actual physical action that I wouldn't want a physical action done to me. Do you understand?
I guess it just depends on how far back you run it, but that's kind of
No. Okay. What I'm basically saying is, golden rule doesn't apply to like other people's rules or moral sets. They apply to the action-to-action basis on what happens. Do you accept that?
I mean, if you make the golden rule too specific, then you don't really have like a golden rule. You can construct like any hyper-specific statement so that it always favors you and theoretically fucks over another person.
No. I'm just saying it's just action to action. I wouldn't want someone to kick me, therefore I don't kick anyone else. It's not, oh, I have a rule that I won't want anyone else to kick me. If they break that rule, they're violating the golden rule because they also have rules that I wouldn't want to break. Like, because you're creating a society in that instance that, like, anytime you break someone's arbitrary rule, you're violating the golden rule because you wouldn't want them to break your arbitrary golden rule, right?
Sure, I'm just saying that, like, you could theoretically create, like, a really
more
weird
like the brass rule. Yeah, I know, right? This is getting a little tiresome.
In a quote-unquote golden rule kind of way.
A little bit.
Like, you could say, like, I don't want anybody to kick me unless I'm wearing red. Then it's okay, because obviously. And then you could go around just kicking people in society that are like wearing colors that aren't red. And you're like, oh, cool, I'm following my golden rule. I'm not doing anything unless I want to. Like, that's my golden rule. That's what I'm saying. It's just that when you use the golden rule, like, we can draw these rules out to be as specific or as generalized as we want to arrive at essentially any conclusion that we want, right? Like, that's I could say that, like, I follow the golden rule because I think that men should be able to fuck women anytime they want. So I just run around raping women. It's like, oh, well, it's the golden rule because I'm following my rule. But then if I were to... sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you would have to be acceptable with, like, in another world that you're women, people can, like, infinitely rape and terrorize you.
Theoretically, yeah. That's why I'm just saying that, like, just saying, like, golden rule and using that as, like, a thing, I think you can run into problems with that.
Okay. That wasn't a comprehensible answer. Okay, going back to your M&M dispenser, okay? Okay. This one's stomping me, okay? Because so let's just go with this statement right here. It's bad to steal. Do you agree?
I agree that in my moral system it's bad to steal, sure.
Right, okay. Is it bad to touch an M&M dispenser?
Is it bad to touch an M&M?
Chat, am I missing something?
I don't think so.
Why is this debater fixated on M&Ms?
You do acknowledge the difference between touching an M&M dispenser. So I'd say
that's not to say that another person couldn't reasonably say it'd be bad to touch their M&M dispenser, though. I don't know.
In their moral, in their moral system, they would be allowed to shoot someone. But in my moral system, and you're asking me, why is it not okay to blast someone for touching an M&M dispenser? It's because in my and your moral system, it's not bad to touch an M&M dispenser. Now, if you touch the M&M dispenser and you start stealing the M&Ms, then it's night-night. But
so what if you go into a person's house, you touch the M&M dispenser, it comes out, and then you eat a couple? You think that person should be able to kill you?
Night-night, yeah, because you're stealing at this point.
Well, maybe you think it's just like a public M&M dispenser. Like, oh, they must have candy set up in their house. Who has just a personal M&M dispenser like that?
If it's in their house, then it is fundamentally perfect.
I refuse to believe, and even if you tell me otherwise, I'm literally going to not believe you, that you've never been in a friend's house before and, like, had candy that was, like, laying around or whatever, you, like, ate a candy bar. You think if you did that, you should be killed for it.
Oh, if it feels like strong... Okay, here. You're... Okay, because I know what you're going to say. Oh, I don't believe you. Oh, I don't believe you. Okay. But I'm saying both outcomes are really bad. Okay, so in this society, okay, we can blast people for stealing public candy bars. Okay, but in the other society, you can infinitely steal candy bars.
Infinitely stealing? What? Oh my god, you got it in his head.
Or infinitely
Destiny, you got this infinite stealing shit. Infinite rape, infinite stealing, infinite... Whatever,
yeah, like I said, I think that notice is not like a... Notice doesn't mean that somebody comes out with a fucking contract and says like, hey, can you sign here and make sure that you understand blah, blah, blah. Like, I think in American society today,
it's a good blanket
generally
rule. Do I need
accepted
more
that if you're trying to set somebody's house on fire, you're probably going to get fucked up for it. Like,
wait, no, I don't care if notice means like, you know, putting a sign outside or like having something on a shirt that says like, oh, if you touch, you blast. But I honestly don't care.
Well, that's a pretty important... Well, you might not care, but that's kind of central to the claims that I'm making, right?
Well, no, but then you would have to... You're putting the onus on, like, the grandma or the mentally, cognitively limited to put a sign, and you're basically saying... You're kind of victim blaming at the point. Like,
you know, they're both Americans because their immediate reaction to theft is shoot them.
I think that putting up a sign that says, like, I have a gun and I'm going to kill you for my shit, I think that's, like, an acceptable level of responsibility to take if you plan on killing
Destiny said that if someone stole... Yeah, if you were, like, worried about that, like, food security...
Right, okay, so you're saying it's their fault.
And somebody stole your sandwich, it would be...
No, it's not their fault at all. It would be the fault of the thief. But I don't think you have the right to murder someone if they don't know that that's the trade that they're making coming in to steal your shit.
Okay. Yeah. So I could do the Destiny thing and say like, oh,
you are doing the Destiny thing. You're doing it like harder than Destiny.
I don't. That's why I defend the right to defend your property with legal force. Even if it's something as arbitrary as
when they're taking to their logical extreme.
But I still think there should be probably some notice given there that the person coming in is like making that agreement. That they're like, okay, well, if I go to steal, they've got the sign out. You know, trespassers will be shot. Well, fuck it. If you trespass, then there you go.
So you honestly think that you're okay with a society where it's infinitely okay to steal something until
infinite stealing?
Yes.
Infinite stealing. We're all right with that.
I would rather that society than your society where somebody steps into somebody's yard and they like missed a sign or something and then now they're going to get executed. I prefer my society there. Because that's the society that you're describing.
Yeah, the security of his M&Ms.
A kid hops over a fence and then he gets assassinated.
Yeah,
by
Destiny,
the
you
lawn
were all
going to
defend your car radio,
attic, like just waiting for some dumb kid to hop his fence and murder him.
Saxophone, but this kid is like.
I'm not
worried about M&Ms.
I'm not sure if like walking on public property.
Not public property. No, private property. Somebody's yard is private property. At least in the U.S. I don't know what country you're in.
Is it fundamentally wrong in your moral system just to walk on private property?
Yeah, if somebody, it's their property. Yeah, of course it can be, sure.
Okay, sure. Then, yeah, I guess.
Wait, but you would probably want the kids to know that, right? This is what I mean. When I talk about, like, notice, notice is like...
You said you would probably want the kids to notice.
They should both be bullied, to be honest. Yes, I agree.
I would want the kids to notice. But... You're saying, is it morally wrong if someone?
Yeah, I'm sorry. When I say you would want the kids to know, I mean like we would want to say that it's not right. It's not morally acceptable to murder somebody if they're not aware that that's the risk that they're taking.
Right.
Right.
Or in other words, someone has infinite impunity until someone else is given notice.
Yep. Correct.
That would be okay.
So that means that in a neighborhood, kids are hopping fences and doing that. When in my neighborhood, we did this. We jumped fences and we ran around through people's backyards and shit. And you do that infinite numbers of times until somebody steps out and they say, like, hey,
destroyed
if you do this, I'm gonna fucking blast you.
argument.
Don't come into my yard anymore. I was like,
I think it was unwittingly.
Yes, that's correct.
Like, I think he was trying to take his argument and make it even stronger, make it even harder.
Obviously not put
and
on
he ends
fucking
up
notice.
pointing out the
Much
absurdity.
the same that if you were to text somebody while they're sleeping and they don't get the message, they also wouldn't be put on notice.
A walking parody of Destiny's argument here.
Infinitely steal from the deaf people.
Yes. In Destiny's world, deaf people can infinitely jump the fence into your yard because you're not able to give them notice that you're going to kill them. That is correct.
Okay. Well, I mean, good. Bite the bullet.
I will bite that bullet. That there might be some deaf community of children that are infinitely jumping fences. You got me hard on there. I'm gonna bite the bullet on that one.
There you go.
Yeah,
biting the bullet.
I guess that's gonna have to be an outcome of my world. That deaf kids are gonna be hopping fences in old man Gary's yard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, would you bite the bullet on like
this kid stretched Destiny's argument until even he rejected it. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh, now that's a one I did not expect. So you actually give infinite impunity for people not like if I don't speak your language, I can't effectively be put on notice.
This is actually a pretty
basically
funny and kind of
steal everything
based art. I don't know.
Right?
I think that there are ways to put somebody on notice that don't require you to speak their language. If you go to steal something and somebody is like screaming, you're like, hey, 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 you probably know to stop.
Okay. And if he doesn't do that, he's dead. Say he's like out of town. He's dead. He's gone. All this stuff is gone.
I guess. In the hypothetical world, and I just need to be clear here because you hypotheticals. I'm trying to
those who live
but
in
you're talking about
hypothetical glass houses should not throw hypothetical stones.
Hold on. You're talking about an immigrant that doesn't recognize property rights, that's been brought over to the United States and unleashed upon a poor, unsuspecting neighbor, and he thinks it's okay to just steal all of his shit. I will engage with that hypothetical, but I will also say I don't believe these types of people exist in the real world, except in incredibly exotic examples.
No, I was more thinking the opposite. American kids go to like France, because you brought up that example, and they're allowed to infinitely steal because they don't recognize any of the signs or any of like the mannerisms.
I think that in most Western countries, other Western people
it's only hypothetically speaking, yes.
Okay, so you can do it in Africa?
You point a gun, now they know that they're on notice. Yes.
Nice. All right, on.
Yeah, nice to have you here, Zerdov. Thanks for coming by.
So, you had a debate.
Aw, thank you.
That was like
it's really sweet.
Pretty similar, okay? Or not pretty similar. But let me get this straight. Your claim with Bosch was if there was a system. I actually do agree with Bosch. There was two different debate points. One was, do you have a fundamental obligation to help people even if you have a lot of wealth? Do you think you have a fundamental obligation to help people even if you have a lot of wealth?
I think that you have increasing obligations to society depending on what you're allotted. Yeah.
No. That's not what I asked.
I feel like now that I've engaged with this,
to help people,
I need to follow this argument.
I don't want to say yes to this because you're using the phrase "help people."
This is
and I don't know what you mean by that. Though. So when I would say yes to that.
I'd love to see Destiny molding it its own argument. This is
and he
so
saw a
beautiful.
guy walking across the street. He obligated to go help that person.
This is really poetic.
Now, I don't know what you mean by that. Like,
okay.
So when you say help people, what do you mean?
Yeah. What do you think I mean when I say help?
I don't know. That's because we've gone to some crazy places. How about I'll rephrase this and you tell me if you get this. I think that you have an obligation to help people within your means, and as your means increase, your ability to help people relating to those means increase.
Okay.
So if you have great financial capability and you've got great financial wealth, then you should probably be helping people financially in a greater level.
Engaging in absurd hypotheticals has never been an issue for Destiny before.
Okay.
Rule 303.
We have to clearly define everything.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I think you're okay. You just said when people get more wealthy, they have a greater capability to do good.
Mm-hmm.
Duh. Do they have a greater obligation?
That is your argument. Duh.
That's what I'm
saying. Duh is not an
yes.
argument. Duh. Okay. It's not an argument.
No. Okay. He does have a greater capability, and you have a greater obligation, right?
Correct, because the obligation should meet the ability. Yeah.
Why does my wealth make you? Why does someone else has a fundamental obligation to my wealth? even if I'm the wealthiest person in the world, infinite money.
It's not about any individual having a right to your wealth. It's about, societally speaking, society having a right to redistribute your wealth to ensure the optimal functioning of society.
No. Because...
Wait, hold on, wait.
Infinite money.
You can't tell me no. I'm telling you what my belief is. You can't just say no. You can argue with me, but you can't just say no.
Duh.
No. This is not what the debate is about. Because you're basically saying, oh, as your wealth goes over, you have to pay more in taxes.
Yes.
Which is a duh. And Bosch didn't disagree with that too. What I'm disagreeing with specifically is once you get more wealthy, you don't have to help other people with that wealth. No community except the U.S. government is entitled to your wealth.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to think, like,
I think
what?
So, yeah, because that's typically how we.
He reminds me of a streamer. Yeah. He's like, way.
So no.
Is it Booksmarts? Chat. Is it Booksmarts?
So you agree? No person.
Am I getting Booksmarts vibes from this kid?
So how?
There's a no. Rob Noor.
So all you were advocating
his
for
voice.
Is higher taxes on the wealth, because that's the only way. Like,
does he not sound like Rob?
Okay, I don't know what you guys disagree.
It's like a Rob Noor Jr.
You just forfeited the claim.
Do you hear that little pitchy thing he's doing? That's a Rob. That's a Robism.
None of that wealth has to go to other communities. You just admitted that, right?
Meow.
That's what I believe. Yes.
No, not Buckfucker.
Okay.
However, I wasn't attacking.
Yeah, I think it's Rob.
Bosch based on what I believe.
I'm getting Rob vibes.
I was trying to illustrate a contradiction in what he believes. I'm not a socialist either, but I believe that if you're a socialist and you think that like helping the proletariat and furthering your political views is important, then I would expect to see you live that out in some ways using whatever means you have necessary. I personally don't believe in socialism and that shit.
Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, right. Okay. Here's a question.
Not Rob. You think it's somebody else?
Do you have a moral obligation to live out what you speak on the internet?
I would say yes. Yeah, generally, yeah. Depending on what you mean, but.
Wait, you can say anything. You can like. Why do you have a moral obligation to live out what you speak on the internet?
Well, because if you don't really live your values, I don't think you really believe.
What kind of argument
is
this?
You have an obligation to like live in the ways that you profess people should live. If you're making moral statements, you should be obligated to those moral statements.
No. Do you have a moral obligation to set through your values that you post on the internet?
Yeah, I would say so.
Wait, you have a moral obligation to, okay, sure. So if someone's coming to, okay, cool. Because if someone's coming to steal your property and you have a sign out back, I expect you to come with the AK-47s and the machine guns, or else you're not living your values.
I mean, I know all these people, and I've debated this kid. He doesn't remind me of anyone.
To do something morally doesn't mean that they have to do it. These are two totally different conversations. If you want to have hold on. I would never say that if somebody is stealing from you, you have an obligation to execute that person. That is a way different argument.
Okay, cool. So you don't have a moral obligation to live the values you set up in the internet.
I never profess the value that you have to murder somebody if they're stealing from you.
Oh.
If I did, then yeah, I would expect to follow through on that. But I would never. That's an insane value to have.
Okay. Oh, okay. And you're saying socialists are saying you have to do socialism or else you're bad. I don't think that's what socialists are saying. Socialism.
Okay, let me instead of trying to guess what I meant in this
What
conversation.
do you think the kid's take on socialism will be?
If you're a particular type of activist, or if you profess a certain moral value or belief, I would expect that you would live a life in a way that conforms to and furthers those particular values. So
why do you have
feels like the argument yeah.
Live a life that furthers your values.
I mean, it makes sense with Abigail Thorne.
Because otherwise, what are they?
Like, I guess what I'm saying is that like
a talking point to make money or whatever.
Okay, why can't it just be that?
If you are a socialist and you're wealthy, like, you know, some kind of mutual aid seems like something you should be doing, or like some kind of project, or some kind of,
it is when you sell.
You know what I mean? It makes sense, but like, I feel like a lot of these fuckers like just will not like
you're destroying
allow
the foundation of society once we've said
they think that socialists should be like living a life that's like, okay, here's the deal, I'm gonna eat rice and beans, I'm gonna give all my rest of my money
so your
to like
is
mutual aid.
You would expect socialists with a lot of money to do at least a little bit something, right?
Yeah, it would be my expectation, yeah.
really kind of a Cold War era misapprehension of socialism.
Any of the things to help communities?
Well, they're M&Ms. That's the real question.
I highly suspect
that is the real question.
Wait, okay.
Touch grass, but less ableist.
You just said it's fundamentally possible.
No, I don't think it would be possible. I would disagree. I don't think it would be possible. I guess it depends on like what you mean by socialist. But no, I don't think if you're a socialist, you have infinite money and then you don't do anything to
infinite money.
No, I don't believe you're a socialist.
Infinite socialism.
How does any of the
infinite redistribution
have to tie in with anything on how you demonstrate it? I think you can have separate positions on what your moral values are and not demonstrate it in real life. For example, you can be a capitalist and not like, you know, export people for money or like whatever the socialist memes are. Like, yeah, go ahead, talk.
I think the problem is that when you start making, okay, so we have to get more foundational in morality, okay?
Gotcha.
When I say prescription, do you understand what I mean by that? Like you're compelling somebody to do something? Like you have to, like, I'm telling you, like, don't kill somebody. That's like a prescription, right?
Like, there's like description, which is like describing things, and then prescriptions is like, it's like what the doctors give you. So it's like what you should do?
Sure.
Gotcha.
So when I say if you're making prescriptive statements and you don't follow the prescriptive statements that you make, then either A, the prescriptive statements you make are not true, or B, there's some special reason why you escape those prescriptive statements, which usually involves some form of bigotry or something, in my opinion. So I don't believe that you can be making prescriptions.
Not even just that, you can put socialism into action.
Morally.
Or buy a franchise and make it a co-op. Yeah.
Just because you don't follow your prescriptions
does not work. Does do work with our local transgender. Hey, yeah, I wouldn't support. Expect.
What makes you think that?
Because I don't
like. I feel like Destiny's got kind of a buy. Like, you know what I mean? He's gonna look at socialists
that allows you to tell
with
people
like a lot
how to do
harder of a.
You're capable of doing, but choose not.
It's consistent. I don't know. I just feel. I feel like he's gonna do weird things with his idea of consistency.
I don't feel that way. Okay, gotcha.
I feel like
sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry I said that word.
Other people.
I didn't mean to say that word.
To more consistency than he holds himself to.
Not it feels. It is contradictory at that point. Don't latch on to that word. Okay.
Let me pose you a question. Say I'm a socialist who has infinite wealth, but think that any marks of socialism is futile in a capitalist world.
I do want to warn people, okay? Listen, before you give to, you know, some mutual aid fund, like, check it out. Make sure they're transparent.
The problem is I don't want to engage with your
Make sure you understand where your money's going.
Because I don't believe that any socialist
we have seen some examples of that going really wrong
That's such a dumb
recently.
Wait, hold on. I have to hold on. Hold on.
People that I would have relied on to, you know, give good advice as far as where to put, you know, your money.
Let's say somebody believes in a particular system, but they acknowledge that
really
the system is impossible.
have just made
do anything about the particular system.
the assumption
no, I wouldn't.
That their friends are good.
Why a person would follow any particular system that they believe is
and
impossible.
that's why you can't just make that assumption.
So I guess
you
yes,
gotta have that transparency.
Exist, but what an absurd hypothetical system you have if you acknowledge that it's impossible that it could ever exist. Why would any person believe that?
Oh wait, I didn't say it was impossible to do socialism.
Oh, the joke. Wait, do I have to debate Ben Burgess though?
World is futile.
I think Ben Burgess might put me to sleep and just win the debate.
That's not true. But I guess if
I
you
don't know what it is, but whenever I see, whenever Ben Burgess starts to talk, I just
it's absurd.
And I don't think it's his. I don't think. I think it's me. It's not him. It's.
Or like having
it's that I'm too much of a pseudo intellectual.
It has to be.
What do you mean? Look at Nevada. They're fucking the Democratic Party in Nevada just got taken over by a bunch of like radical dipshit socialist fucks.
Yes, the radical dipshit socialist fucks party.
You can make small communes. There's like tons of different ways that you can act out your beliefs if you wanted to.
No. Just because people have like communist heads.
Ben was already on. He picks 4 new people each time.
That doesn't mean like Virginia is now communist or like socialist.
No, but parts of it.
I want to be on with Skippy the Bear.
No. But fundamentally, socialists are saying like it's an all or nothing system. Like
Skippy the Bear.
Well, those people are dumb as fuck, so I don't know how to engage
the motherfucking bear.
Everything works incrementally. Yes, everything works incrementally. If you're saying that it's either all or nothing, you probably don't actually believe what you're saying. You're just virgin.
Skippy the Bear. I'm just imagining like a metal beat behind this. You know what I mean? Like a double kick drum.
Socialism.
Skippy the Bear.
Yeah, it is. I mean, living in communes is not going to be like no one's bargaining for like living in communes.
If we were to have a society where every single business was a co-op, but everything else was the same, people would probably be more okay with that, even if it wasn't necessarily socialism yet. You can make incremental steps towards socialism. It doesn't have to be like a 100% transition overnight.
Okay, I acknowledge that specific area can be socialist, but like the thing of like redistributing wealth that can't happen on a city level. Like Kansas City can't like implement
sure,
like
that's one part of it. But you
actually,
could have city taxes,
Evanston, Illinois just did a little bit of redistribution.
Yeah, you can enact city taxes
based
on
on
you got, like, city
reparations.
Sure. I mean, let me compare this to something else. So say you advocate for
He's poisoned the well by affiliating himself with anything.
You should be morally obligated to do something about climate change.
Common change? Wait, what?
Climate change.
If you believe in climate change, are you morally obligated to do something about
okay, that would
change?
fall like he's holding Destiny to
exactly
all the little consistencies that he would hold other people. This is beautiful. This kid is based. I don't agree with a lot of what this kid is saying.
I mean,
because I think he means it. I don't think he's
sure.
I don't think he's really exposing Destiny's.
Hold on, let me. Can I please talk through this? I know you're so desperate to drop the red herring or whatever. Climate change is like a special and particular type
that's
of thing
gonna be
because generalized harms, I think, are a lot different than like specific individual harms. So, for instance, if you think that slavery is wrong, I don't think that you can ever get away with owning a slave. But buying something that at some point in the supply chain was made by a slave is a little bit different, I think. I think there's a difference between generalized harms versus like hyper-specific harms.
Actually, capitalism, the argument that socialists could make in this scenario is capitalism isn't an individualized harm like climate change. It's like a system that we perpetuate, and everyone in that system is like pretty bad. Same as police unions, right?
The kid is destroying.
That is what? Oh,
do you think this is going to go up on Destiny's like channel or no?
Under capitalism.
Perhaps
so for instance,
no.
If you're a business owner, there might be the general harm.
Perhaps just like the Demon Mama debate, this one might not get uploaded. Well, we'll have to see if somebody else can upload this debate, maybe with a little bit of commentary over it. Hi YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. If this is your first time seeing me, I'm nocommentchick.
There are also specific.
I don't always on Destiny, but when I do, I do it through my little proxy Debatelord.
But I absolutely
is my progeny here. I trained this kid up.
I don't think I
taught this kid basic debate tactics. I like guided him in the dark triad ways of Destiny, and like got his triad even darker than Destiny's. And here we go. These are the results.
And it's not like a generalized thing. I think there's a difference between those two types of actions.
Yeah. So someone who's like a lot of money and a lot of fame is Greta Thunberg. She can't litter ever.
Somebody with what?
She can't litter.
So
Greta Thunberg can't litter.
Have a lot of money. She can't litter ever.
CTV is his mentor.
I don't think you should. No.
You're trolling me.
No, never.
You're trolling me.
No, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't.
You're fucking trolling me.
You're right.
CTV can't debate his way out of a paper bag. CTV is a fucking parody of a K-Kona streamer. Like CTV is the kind of dude that other MAGAs see and they're like, I'm not with him.
People from professing their beliefs. Because if my beliefs are radical,
they see CTV and they're like, false flag. False flag. This is a trying to pretend to be. This is a parody. No.
To act out those beliefs.
Good.
Why would I ever profess?
CTV is like a walking negative stereotype threat for conservatives.
The main advocate that has infinite money can't act out on it. Then maybe you shouldn't profess those beliefs. Do something different. Sure.
Okay, but what if I like the beliefs? I just don't.
You clearly don't like it enough to follow through on it, so it feels like you don't like them that much.
No. Okay. So no. Let me finish.
How quickly did Destiny like forget this is a kid that he's talking to? How quickly?
Or I'm too lazy, or I just don't care enough to do it on an individual level. But I would like to see societal change, and I would like to put forth societal change without me.
All I gotta say is that CTV's lucky this kid is a conservative, because I think CTV would have got his snoot booped a few times, but if he disagreed more.
How come? Okay, so you're basically saying like every socialist should shut up. Okay, that's your
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that if you're a socialist and you have the means to make like small changes in your community, you should probably do so. Otherwise,
CTV's intellectualism is on silent running.
YouTube videos not themselves considered.
Is that a submarine term?
They can be. But they're also coincidentally ways to enrich yourself. If the only way that you further your own cause is by enriching yourself over and over again, it makes me wonder if you care about actually furthering your own cause, or if you're just doing things that say you're doing it and convenentally enriching yourself altogether.
People like Mike from PA, Carpe Pax, and Xanderhall, given the 2019 claim, are just being stupid.
If the only things that you choose to do
that it can be done.
Make you money, it feels like you don't really care about the thing. It feels like you just care about the money.
Okay. Feels like you care about the thing, not just money, but it could be possible that they're just doing it to like, I mean, Hassan was a socialist before he started making money off of YouTube, right?
Yeah, I stream on YouTube too.
I don't know. Hassan was a frat boy that talked about like how to get dates and shit before he got on the Young Turks. I don't know. Maybe he only became a socialist because that was the easiest way for him to get on the Young Turks.
Okay. Specifically, Vosh was a socialist before he made money on YouTube, right?
Sure.
Okay.
The kid is a socialist for sure.
And all the left.
For real?
Okay. But I would say that their obligations change.
Wait, so was he stretching Destiny's arguments out on purpose?
You can have more and more obligation.
No.
Is this kid really a lefty?
But you said specifically that it makes you question whether they're actually socialists or they're just doing it for the profit. But they were socialists before the profit came in hand. So does that ease your question a little bit?
Not really. They might have just been socialists.
Well, Vosh's family were the Beverly Hillbillies, thinking cat.
If that was the case, I might believe it a little bit more. But
wait, why do you have to make
Vosh's family was actually from
make you believe your value?
rural Arkansas.
Because I don't believe in anybody when they tell me that they have a certain value system, that they only follow it insofar as it is convenient to them and it enriches their lives. It sounds to me like that person is just a self-serving asshole.
Vosh's
and they
dad
say they
found
have a certain
oil
value system, but they don't really. They just follow it because it makes them money. I don't put a lot of stock in those types of values.
Okay. Why is it morally wrong for me to do a value insofar it's only self-sufficient?
Because at that point, I think that anything
he could have. Well, he was like, I think he was making a pro-life argument earlier.
But they don't have it. I think that all of those types of things are bad. They do harm. They're harmful.
Okay, so only by.
Oh no, I was making that up. That's like a television show.
Can lefty socialists actually? I mean, wouldn't you consider like sleep deprivation from
people who move to Beverly Hills from?
Wouldn't that be a self-sacrifice?
The southern part of the country.
Okay.
The gold-plated gulags.
Bullying be a self-sacrifice?
Yeah, it could be, but that's kind of something you have to accept if you want to make a lot of money.
It's pretty rare.
It'll still all just be about the money at that point.
Marco.
Okay. Okay. So my next question is.
I mean, outside of Nazguls and stuff, it's pretty rare.
Okay. So money into you, because you're thinking now you're a little bit sounding like a socialist. So just because there's money
Vosh is effectively just a live at the stage, as far as I can tell, anyway.
It's basically fundamentally wrong to you because, like, now you question everything.
Never said any of it was wrong. I think
unionizations and co-ops can be done outside of the state. Direct action can be done outside of elections.
And it involves like massive structural change, and you come across like a large amount of money that would allow you to make a little bit of that change, and you don't do it. Makes me wonder if you ever actually believed in that particular thing, or you were just saying it because it was trendy or cool, you made money doing it.
Okay. So I think, okay, that makes sense. But also, you're just being kind of a prick when you say, like, okay, they were doing it before they began money. Oh, maybe they were just doing it to be trending. Okay, oh my gosh. Then that leads me to my next question. Even if they do charities, and even if they do self-sacrifices without having the money in it, when you would just be like, oh, maybe they're doing that just to be trendy, right?
I think he had a few other.
Yeah,
I think he had a few other right-wing beliefs.
The only time you're willing to do a charity is if you think you can get AOC to show up for it or whatever. This is.
But yeah, you're right. He has been economically on.
They really are like furthering their own brand and everything, doing it. They don't really give a fuck that much about the charity.
Okay, right.
Not to say that's bad. I think that, like, doing charities is good. I don't think that like expresses like a strong personal.
Like his right-wing perspectives were like taking Destiny's view of like protection of property, and just like
for a mayor,
expanding it to like a almost ghoulish position.
If you do a charity,
of like, why should we have to let them know that they're in danger of being?
You can phrase
killed.
these and picture
if they're in your house, then that's. Sorry, dude, you shouldn't have
the truth and
shouldn't have been in somebody else's house.
Like, if you want to go back and address like any particular thing, like everything I've said is like standard practice and is super like
anarchism is the essential quantum.
Like, there are definitely people that do like charity stream related stuff just because it makes them look good. There are definitely people that profess certain values just because it's trendy or it makes them look good. Hop on Tinder, talk to any fucking girl right now between the ages of fucking 18 and 30, and all of them are fucking socialists in LA because it looks good, and they don't even know who the fuck Marx is, let alone like anything related to what he's written about, right? Like, yeah, a lot of people do a lot of shit because it's trendy. A lot of people do charity work and everything because it makes them look good.
I'm like a socialist.
None of you are controversial claims. You can keep saying it to me in a high-pitched voice over and over again like it's ridiculous, but it's super obvious. I think most people acknowledge it.
And like the proletariat and stuff as like a transitional state in order to
it just happens
establish.
Or maybe the fact that it's trendy led them onto socialism. So like if they hear like all
who cares about Marx
and all you see is socialism, okay, maybe the fact that it's trendy has something to do with like me being a socialist. Could that be a possibility?
Yep, and that I would expect to see them start living their life in a way more that conforms.
So
to
this
those
is a
okay, but even if they live
socialist with a really particular set of beliefs about use of deadly force to protect property.
Really, if you're doing what you can,
fucking really, like if you think somebody's gonna get your M&Ms,
even if it is trendy.
look, chat. Let's say you ate M&Ms an hour ago, okay, and you got a little bit of like the
red herring, you mean, right?
The food coloring.
Okay.
Like on your hands, you got the M&M color on your hands.
You said,
if somebody comes, like this would be weird though. If somebody licked your hand, I don't know, dude. If somebody comes, grabs your M&M packer,
Yeah, I don't care if something's
package, grabs your M&M package, turns it inside out and sucks on it to get like the little taste of the M&Ms out because you've already eaten them and you're about to throw it away.
Yeah, that's fine. I feel like.
Just go ahead and go off on them, apparently, because their life isn't worth shit. Apparently, if they
a little bit,
mess with your M&Ms. Nobody's allowed to mess with your M&Ms, chat. That's what I learned from this thing. It's like, yes, socialism, but not when it comes to M&Ms. My M&Ms are my M&Ms, and I will defend them with deadly force in Minecraft.
It's not that hard to find places or projects that you can get involved
Minecraft.
in.
Yeah, good night to you too. Definitely not.
So stop acting like it's so extreme.
Def not.
Okay. It's not. It's not that hard to do.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, if you got me on Discord. Oh hey, if anybody's
don't make it sound like that.
Looking to join up, here is
but it would be hard to find the motivation.
Our Discord.
I can either preach my socialist to like millions of people.
This is such a weird socialist. Like, think about the socialist. Like, right?
Like, how would you
now I get it. Like that. Like we're socialism's not coming for anybody's toothbrush, but the idea that like, don't mess with my package.
Don't you think you're the exception though?
I'm not.
Anybody fucking like licks the the dye from the food coloring from the M&Ms. Like off of the package, that's a human rights violation.
Feels like if you're like a high profile
Tabby will come for you. Tabby will freaking come for you.
Your mouth isn't doing something to further those causes.
Okay,